The Fast and Furious franchise has had a massive impact on the car scene, that goes without saying, and that's kind of both good and bad. It's no surprise that a lot of us remember the original movies really having an impact on getting us into cars in the first place. But if you've gone back and actually rewatched any of the first three lately, you may have realized how damn cheesy they actually were.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
And now with rumors flying around about the 9th movie and the franchise maybe sending them into space at some point, what is even happening? Nonetheless, throughout all the underglow, uncomfortable, and really just not necessary sexual tension and the buff dudes just throwing each other through walls, there is a line in one of the movies that has really stuck throughout the years, and I guess has caused quite a bit of confusion. Go ahead and play the clip right here.
Granny shifting, not double clutching like you should.
What in the hell does that even mean? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about on today's episode of Myth or Fact. Before we go ahead and get into the nitty gritty, please, if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button. I know the majority of y'all are not subscribed. All right, Nick, see you. I don't know, I just like to say random names, hope that freaks someone out, and then they're like, oh shit, I'm not subscribed. Anyway, Wheelstar Suspension, FitmentIndustries.com, that's the plug. Let's go ahead and get into the video. First things first, let's just get this out of the way right away. Double clutching is an actual thing, and it is a method of shifting a manual transmission that is still used today. So there it is. Thank you guys so much for watching. No, I'm kidding. There is more to it than that. The origin of double clutching comes from way back in the day from older cars with manual transmissions. And I'm talking way back in the day, in the early 1900s. Automobiles with manual transmissions required you to use the double clutch method when shifting up or down in gears, meaning you would have to depress and release the clutch twice while changing gears. The reason behind this is because when driving, you're in gear, cruising along, everything's rotating together, everything's happy, it's all good. Your input, which would be your engine to your flywheel, to your clutch, your pressure plate, and your input shaft, your lathe shaft, your output shaft, all is good. What happens though with cars back in the day with older transmission is that as soon as you take the car out of gear or press the clutch in, everything starts turning at different speeds and it's not all happy anymore. The point of double clutching is to make sure that everything gets back into the same speed before selecting the next gear. The process goes something like this. You take your foot off of the gas, you put the clutch in, gear shift in neutral, release the clutch, hit the gas to, a bit to rev up the RPMs if you're downshifting, press the clutch again, select the next gear, and then release the clutch. It's a whole process. When you release the clutch for the first time, you're allowing everything to re-engage and get back to a synchronized speed. And that is an important word there, synchronize. Because you may be thinking, man, I've been driving my manual car wrong this entire time. Should I have been double clutching? Not exactly. And that is thanks to a gentleman by the name of Earl Avery Thompson, who invented the first synchromesh transmission in 1919. The synchromesh transmission featured synchronizer rings, otherwise known as synchros, which were attached to the forward gears, which automatically synced up and matched the speed of the input shaft with the gear being selected, in turn relieving the need for double clutching. However, even though it was invented in 1919, the synchromesh transmission wouldn't find itself into an actual production car until the year 1928, where it was used first by Cadillac. But it wouldn't stop there because it wasn't yet the standard for manual transmissions, and it's kind of a play on words there, no. But while Cadillac was the first to use these types of transmissions in their cars, it wouldn't be until really the late 40s and early 50s that other car manufacturers would start to feature the synchromesh transmission in their production cars as well. Meaning, up until about the 50s, most cars were using non-synchronous transmissions that required you to double clutch to shift smoothly. So why is double clutching still a thing? Why is it still talked about? Why did Vin Diesel drop that infamous line? The fact of the matter is, you can double clutch whenever you want to. Even though today's manual transmission vehicles are equipped with those synchronizer rings, like everything, they can wear out over time. Double clutching alleviates the wear on these rings as you are, in a sense, doing the work for them so they're not working. You may have noticed that if you hop in your buddy's old Civic or DSM, that it's not maybe the greatest experience trying to shift like normal.
There you go.
The odds are that those synchros are probably trashed. So if you don't want to replace them, you can just double clutch for the rest of your life. Whatever you want to do, your choice. so be it. Even though production vehicles with manual transmissions got the synchronizer treatment, commercial vehicles, on the other hand, like large trucks and specialty vehicles and things like that, still use unsynchronized manual transmissions. If you go to take your CDL test right now in most states, they will require you to double clutch at some point. So it is definitely something that is still used today. However, when talking mad shit to the guy you just smoked with your RX-7 loaded with nitrous oxide, bringing up the fact that they weren't double clutching just really doesn't make sense. Especially since all the cars in that movie definitely had synchronized transmissions. I mean, the amount of shifting done in those movies, I would sure to God hope so. I mean, my leg would be so damn tired. But that is going to go ahead and wrap it up for today's episode of Myth or Fact on the good old double clutching. So thank you guys so much for watching. Drop down in the comments below what you would like us to cover next on this series. And of course, don't forget, wheels, tires, suspension, fitmentindustries.com. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Helps us out a ton. We'll see you guys later. Peace.